Today I want to talk about pay in healthcare. It's well known that the tech industry in the US pays really well, especially the big firms. And I think they do a really good job in terms of making this information transparent and public. So for example, on this levels.fyi, you can see what the different levels at different companies are and how much people are getting paid. And does big pharma pay the same? Do we know that? Well, we don't, because it's not public and it's really hard to find this info. Now, what does help is recently, in the past year or two, California and New York has mandated that pay information is public in the job postings. So now we have a little bit of some data to work with. It's really hard to ask people about their pay when it's a stranger you find on LinkedIn, or even someone you know who maybe know you previously in school, or sometimes you get answers like, yeah, it just depends on what qualifications you come in with or what experience you bring into. But that's not helpful. Yeah, like I get it, it's true. If someone asks me, probably that's my answer to some degree as well, but I think it does help to give some kind of numbers so that for new person who may be new to the field, who may be switching, partly switching their careers, or maybe just don't. And even for people who know the field, different companies call different things different. A director in one company could be a manager in another company. And it's not like the job postings tell you how many staff you're going to be managing, or how many managers you're going to be managing, or how much sort of clients or dollar value are you going to be managing. So it's hard to really compare apples to apples between companies. So really pay sort of gives you an idea of what seniority level are you applying to and what kind of responsibilities you can expect. Anyway, so let's take a look at a few. First, let's look at Alcon. So this is one of the big eye care companies. I'm picking Alcon and CooperVision to compare today because they are both big companies, international companies, and so definitely a lot of jobs, a lot of postings, plus they are exclusively focused on eye care. CooperVision's mostly consumer vision care. Alcon has some sort of pharmacology and surgical care as well, but they're different from places like Johnson & Johnson, which has something completely outside eye care and focuses on other business like oncology or like consumer baby powder. So it's harder to compare that way. But at one point, let's do a deep dive into more general big pharma as well. But today, just the eye care company. So there's only 4 postings from Alcon that's in the either New York or California. And basically, what happens is, so cataract account manager is basically a salesperson. And you don't really manage staff, but you will have clients to manage. And 2 things to note. One is you can see a pay range here, which is 77K to 115K. So the range is not ridiculously wide. Like some companies try to hide their data by just making like a ridiculous range of like 50K to 200K, which is useless. But later on, you can tell the HR in this company is actually trying to put accurate info on here. Because the next salary band does not really overlap with this. So you can tell they're actually posting their salary bands. And if you don't believe in salary bands, you should. I know when I first started out, I was thinking, yeah, like it all depends on like how well you do in the company. But no, every company has a salary band. And if you're not at that level, you're not going to have a salary jump into the next band. So you really need that promotion to get. So, and that's all to do with internal equity. HR or the upper management want to make sure that, someone with lower qualifications and experience and results are not earning into the next level. So, but how do we find out the salary band? So there is a little bit of a hack to this. This is kind of HR's internal speak. So if you look at the education requirement, they will post something like high school plus 10 years. And then the next salary band up will be high school plus 13 years and then 15 years. So that's kind of HR's sort of internal way of telling you without telling you what salary band you are at. And then you can find out the respective pay range for that band. So if we go to another job posting, this one is high school plus 13 years, so 3 more years. And there you go. The salary band is the next band, which is on the last one ended at 115K. So this one starts at 120, goes to 180. So you can imagine the next level up will probably be 180 to something like 220 or 230. And the guess would be the next one would be a higher education requirement as well. Now, this is not like, it's not that a company really hires by education. Education is not that big of a deal, but this is sort of HR's way of labeling things. If you have no master's degree, but tons of experience, or you've proven good results, of course they'll hire you. Anyway, so let's take a look at another. This is an internship, and I've done the calculation here. So actually I plotted everything in a document. So in Alcon, the 4 jobs listed from low to high, you can see the 4 salary bands here. And the 3 has actual data. This is based on my guess. You can extrapolate, 6 years, 10 years, 13 years, and the money goes up as well in pretty distinct salary bands. So that is Alcon. And let's move on to another company, CooperVision. This one has a headquarters in California. So they actually have some more relevant jobs with salary posting rather than Alcon, because their headquarters in Texas. Most of their job is not reviewing salary, so I can only pull the New York and California jobs. One caveat to this whole exercise is the pay is respective to those regions, right? You can't take a California salary and work in Texas. Well, who knows? Maybe one day you will. But if housing prices and cost of living is different, you can't expect to be paid the same. So maybe adjust those known pays a little bit to something that that's relevant to the cost of living there. So CooperVision uses more industry standard titles. That's CRA, or Clinical Research Associate. So let's look at a CRA's salary. And this is a CRA, I think, in California. And it pays around 80K. Actually, this is in Arizona. So, and their sort of HR speak for number of years is a bachelor's degree. So CooperVision might do things differently than Alcon. So I don't know how much we can rely on this to establish a salary band, but there is a band to be determined. So here is 60 something K to 80 something K, and the next level up, the senior CRA, also in, this is no longer in Arizona, this is in California, is 100 to 134. So definitely a level up. And if we plot this out, so CRA is in the end, maybe let's add that. This is Arizona, and this is Pleasanton, California. Is that how you spell Pleasanton? Pleasant. Okay, Pleasant. Yep. So yeah, you can clearly see there's a band here. And their band is even tighter. 30K range. What's surprising to me was the scientist role was paid less than the CRA role. A scientist you'd think would pay more than the senior CRA, but no. And the scientist is also in California. So I don't get it. But maybe CRA is more clinical and science is more basic science. This is a chemical scientist who develop lens material. To actually support environmental safety. Requirement is a PhD level, master, higher educational requirement, but pays lower than the senior, who just have bachelor. Again, I'm not saying education is determinant, just saying this is how HR codes things. And senior scientist is similar to senior CRA. So I guess the two tracks are parallel and matched and paid at the same levels. And all of the scientist jobs are in California. So, by the way, I'm doing ADR because the first time recording was poor because the microphone disconnected. So I'm trying to re-record this. So yeah, the bands look like they're real. There's very little overlap and looks like the HR is being truthful. And yeah, that's it. That's the salary band. So for the job that doesn't post, so maybe clinical trial lead is equivalent to the CRA. And the senior and director. So what we don't see is what's the next level up from clinical trial lead. Circling back, if you know a website that lists healthcare pay or pharma pay or clinical research pay to the same level of detail as what they do for tech, like levels.fyi, with the levels shown and how are they equivalent to each other with actual pay for each level, please put that in the comments. I would love to know if there's some organized way to research pay than trying to guess through job posting. So it's interesting during this process, I learned something I didn't know. So for example, Alcon posted a job and they're hiring someone to look at fluid-filled intraocular lens. That's exciting. I haven't heard that kind of work before. Well, I have heard of that kind of work before, but not by a major player. It's usually small studies and trying to do something for developing countries, just because the tech is not quite there and the accommodation and the end result is not as good as current generation multifocal IOLs. But that's exciting to see what Alcon's going to be coming up with. So through the job posting, I guess you can see what the companies are working on. And also on the flip side, I found out Alcon, they got a big lawsuit and it was settled just 2 weeks ago. And they paid J&J $200 million. Now, big numbers are hard to put into perspective, but let's say a staff working for Alcon gets total comp $200K per year. That might not just be just the staff, that also be the manager's time and so forth. Let's just say $200K per staff per year. That would mean $1 million will get 5 staff for a year. 200 million is 1,000 staff for 1 year. Or if you have a 5-year project, that's 200 people working on it for 5 years. Yeah, I think 200 people for 5 years is enough to create a product. And poof, it's gone. And that's just given to this one lawsuit. And you can see their net income was 1,000 million in 2021. Out of that 1,000, 200 was given away. 20% of their previous year's profit was given away to one lawsuit. Now I think I can understand why Alcon laid off so many people recently in the last 2-3 months. Like, I think overall, maybe 10% of their workforce was gone. Yeah, we could look at their latest 20F filing to see. I personally know a lot. For the salespeople, marketing people, health economics, market access people were gone. And initially, without the news, I thought it was just similar to the latest round of tech layoffs. Overall environment is tough. And now I think about it, probably not. Because J&J is not laying off people, Bausch & Lomb is not laying off people, only Alcon. Probably because they paid 20% of their profit to one lawsuit. Now they are out of money, so they lay off a bunch of people. But not many people know about this news. People might think, well, and the executives are trying to shut it off to the tech. So similar to Facebook and Amazon, they're laying off people. But maybe no. Well, I don't know. Maybe because of this. So that's it for today's look at healthcare pay and salary. See you next time.